Last year we fished a 300-acre reservoir, and what we caught far surpassed our expectations. Although we had landed 2 incredible carp, deep down we knew the reservoir had more to offer. It's late March now, and we've been coming down the res, sitting in the bird hide, looking over the nature reserve, trying to spot a carp. We haven't actually seen anything up until today. It's been a beautiful afternoon, and we've actually seen some carp. They've been cruising along the surface, taking flies. They're definitely waking up, and that's the only sign we need to get started. It's early April now and we're back here at the reservoir. We're actually on our 3rd session of the year at the moment. Let's go right back to late autumn last year after we'd made the video. We come back a handful of times just to see if we could scrape out one more really good fish before it got too cold, but we did catch a handful of immaculate commons, so it was definitely worth coming back. We didn't do a huge amount of time, but the time that we did do was fished up here in this swim, making the most of what we'd learnt throughout the year, and we did catch quite a few nice fish. Going into the end of last year, November, December time, we pulled off. We didn't fish the reservoir anymore because we kind of knew that nothing was really going to happen. We know of a few other anglers who fished it this winter, and God knows how many nights for virtually nothing. A handful of bream came out over the winter, but other than that, it is very, very hard sort of venue to fish in the winter. You don't know where they're going to be, it's massive, it's really deep, and there's not really all that many carp in here. So I think our time was best spent elsewhere, catching fish, enjoying our winter. Moving into 2016 now, as I said, it's early April. Over the course of March, we did do a handful of sessions. We fished a little bit further down the reservoir in deeper water, and to our surprise, on the first night of our return, Alex had a run and he caught one. One toner and quite a beautiful common. It's not very big, but we've got the rest of the year ahead of us to try and catch a whopper. Annoyingly, since Alex's first fish on the first night back on the reservoir, all of our sessions have been quiet as a mouse. We haven't had a single beep. We haven't even caught a bream, which is quite worrying, to be honest. But it has been warm lately. The water temperatures are definitely rising. We've seen a couple of shows over the last week, so you never know. Tonight might be the night. Well, that's the end of the session. 3 more nights without a single bite. No bream or nothing. It's just proving to be much harder than we first expected, but we've sort of come to the conclusion that that first bite Alex had must have been a bit of a fluke. I'm sorry, Alex, but I think you got quite lucky with that one, as since then we just haven't seen anything or caught anything or even had any bites. So I think we're going to head off, fish elsewhere for a couple of weeks and then come back here, maybe when we have a bit more warm weather, and see how we get on when we return.
After 6 more nights of blanking, we took a break and looked for other possible waters to target. In particular, a 190-acre Syndicate water very close to our home. We started baiting and made our plans. We'd been told we could get on the Syndicate in a couple of weeks' time, when the ticket became available. Perhaps this was to be our new campaign water for this year. Unfortunately, our big plans were cut short when 2 of the current members decided to spread rumours about us to the lake owners, which to our surprise got us banned before we had even got a chance to fish the venue. A couple of days later, while scrolling through Facebook feeling sorry for ourselves, a photo popped up. The exact photo which inspired us to start fishing the reservoir in the first place. A photo of an epic scaly mirror. That was it. We had a reason to get back down there. We had our eyes set on a target fish. So I've just finished college, and you might be a bit surprised that I'm driving instead of Carl. Now that's because 2 days ago I actually passed my driving test, so I'm super excited, and it's actually my first time driving since I passed my test. And guess where I'm going? I'm going to the res. So let's get down there, flick the rods out, and it'd be great if we can catch a carp.
Beautiful morning, and last night I was lucky enough to have one. It wasn't very big, probably about low double, but I'm still really happy. Yes! There's the bird hide, where lots of people come down in the evening to have a look at the birds. But Colin and I have sat in that a few times this spring and just watched for the carp, because it's the best place to be, because that's the shallow water up there. But in the night, hopefully they will move down past the rope. Anyway though, I'm going to get to sleep early, because I've got to be up at about 7, well, got to be up at 6 to get home by 7 and go to college again. Another overnight between college, and I've managed to catch another 2 fish in the night, waiting there in the retainers until it gets a little bit lighter and I can do some photos. But I'm absolutely loving it. Coming down just for the night, sticking the rods out on dark, and actually catching a couple of fish. I can't believe it. One is a 20-pounder, one is a 19, so not a bad brace. They're quite contrasty. One is really fat, big belly on it, big tail, but a perfect fish. And then the other one, and here's the 19. Again, an absolutely perfect fish. Yes! Let's get these ones back and get to college. Yes!
Around a week later we were back, this time Cole joining me, so with more rods out we hoped that we'd have an even better chance of catching.
Another reservoir common, but it's just great to be back and catching.
That little one.
Is it? Yeah. It's a mirror! Carl, it's a mirror! Come on. Yes! Oh, yes! It is in. It might be cold, and it's might normally be very hard fishing here, but first night back here for a little while. Now we've got a mirror. Well, you wouldn't believe it, but Alex is in again. I can't believe that. That's the third fish in a night. And it's just about getting light, and that moon is just coming up as well, and it looks incredible. This is the last fish we caught last night. In fact, it was about 4 in the morning when I had this one, and it is actually bigger than Carl's rare mirror. But I'm really pleased to catch it, as it's a bit different from the norm. It's quite deep-bodied and quite fat actually, which is unusual because most of the commons are really long and thin. But this one still put up a great fight, and I can't believe it. We've started at the res earlier than last year, and we're catching already. So. Yeah, it's good. Well, last season, over the course of the whole season, we managed to catch around 30 carp. And only one of them turned out to be a mirror. Whereas this season, my first fish so far is this epic looking mirror. Mirrors are super rare in this reservoir, so I'm absolutely over the moon. And to have this one as my first fish of the season makes it even better.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful one as well.
It's amazing.
So happy about that. Unlike last year, where the vast majority of our bites came whilst casting to the stream bed, we hadn't had a touch from this area so far this year, and all of our fish we'd caught were on the margin rods, only 10 to 20 yards from the bank. We thought this to be a little unusual, as it was completely the opposite last year, so we headed out on the boat and went about accurately finding the stream bed to guarantee we were bang on the spot that we were catching from last year. There you go, that's it. Just past the white buoy. Definite, that is the stream bed. Whilst leading around from the boat, we took note of all of the depths and also found another feature which we had completely forgotten about. The old road and the bridge which we'd seen photos of in the past. The road, bridge and stream have been submerged for years and years now, but surely the carp would have these spots on their patrol routes in and out of the nature reserve. We felt confident in our new areas, so decided to start baiting heavily, in hope that the more bait we put in, the more fish would be encouraged to feed in the area. It was early May now, and the temperatures were going through the roof. If there was ever a time to get on the bank, it was now, particularly as we had our eyes set on catching that big scaly mirror. We're back at the res in the swim right up near the nature reserve, and we're here for a few reasons.
Firstly, it's got extremely warm the last week and we know they're going to be up this end. And secondly, over the last few days, we've actually watched lots of carp right up at the top of the nature reserve. So we know we're in the right swim, we're as close as we can get to those carp because obviously there's a rope in, you're not allowed in. And all we can hope is they move down in the night and we might catch one. It was a quiet night, and in the morning we found out why when we were awoken to loads of commotion just down the bank. The carp was spawning. Carl drifted in the boat for hours desperately trying to spot a mirror, but our hopes dropped as all we saw were commons between 10 and 15 pounds. Tell a lie, we saw one fish with a large body which looked like a monster, but we never caught a glimpse of its scales, so we will never know what that was. We packed away and made a return in a couple of weeks. We continued to bait heavily, introducing up to 20 kilos of maize and boilie each night. We were really hoping that eventually the fish would settle on this new food source and come out of the nature reserve more regularly. Carl hooked a fish that night which held deep and fought hard.
Big common.
Yeah.
Big common.
It was a huge common, and in fact the same large common that I caught last season. I couldn't believe it, a recapture in such a large water. What are the chances of that? Carl was so pleased though, and it certainly is a fish to be proud of. Unlike last year where the water levels dropped around 7 feet, this season it hadn't dropped at all. We believe this to be one of the reasons why the fishing had been a little slower, as the carp could be sat up right in the nature reserve, whereas last year it would have been empty. But as long as our rigs were presented when the fish moved down, we felt like we had a chance.
We touched on our rig and bait approach last year and it hasn't changed a huge deal. Size 5 hooks, hair rigs and large hook baits consisting of 20mm bottom baits and 15mm pop-ups. This hook bait choice was the best we could find to avoid the large amounts of bream that reside in the reservoir. One thing we'd noticed is that the carp we're catching had very hard mouths, which we believe to be due to them feeding regularly over mussel beds and eating lots of crayfish. This meant it was vital to have super sharp hooks, so at all times we had plenty of rigs tied up in advance so we could grab a new one whenever the hook point turned over or became blunt. The crayfish that were a massive pain last year hardly even touched our baits this season, which saved us a lot of time as there was no need to shrink wrap our hook baits. Instead, we just used 20mm hardened hook baits which would stay strong even if the roach, bream or crayfish pecked at them throughout the night. Hook lengths of up to 10 inches might seem a little long when fishing on a hard lake bed, but we believe the carp to be quickly moving between boilies whilst feeding, and a long hook link gives the carp a little longer to get the bait deeper into their mouths, and in fact we lost a lot less fish than last year. After a couple of weeks of super heavy baiting with maize, particle and boilie, we began catching a little more consistently. Maybe only 1 or 2 bites a night, but now that the fish had picked up on the new food source, we dropped down to just feeding boilie in a wide spread over our rods to encourage the carp to feed rather than the bream.
Well, last night has got to be our most productive night yet. 4 takes, 1 just before midnight that we slipped back when we caught it, and then 3 in the last couple of hours just before and just after it got light. We thought Alex had a bream. We were watching him reel it in all for the last few minutes, and it's just popped up in the margin, and that is no bream. I woke this morning at about 8:30 to a twitchy bite, which I was pretty confident was a bream. Picked up the rod, it sort of wallowed in the whole way, thinking it might be a small carp or it might be a bigger bream, and then this popped up in the margin. A 20+ mirror. I was not expecting it.
The more and more nights we did, the more we learnt, and the bites just kept on coming. Some nights landing up to 6 carp, but now it was all about a bigger and better fish, so we kept at it and persevered.
Its tail. Right, so it's about 6 o'clock now, and I've pretty much finished my work for the day, and it's time to head back down to the reservoir. We've actually done, I think, the last 4 nights up at the res, and although we've been keeping the bait going in on the spot and we've been fishing what I believe to be quite effectively and really putting in the effort, nothing's happened the last few nights. It's gone quite quiet, but looking out the window today, it's been quite overcast, quite windy, and certainly colder than the last few days, so who knows, maybe they'll work their way out of the nature reserve. But time to head back down the res and see how we get on. Well, for the last couple of hours it's been hammering down with rain. It's been pretty miserable, but finally the skies have cleared. Still quite mild, and we've had a chance to cook up a nice barbecue. And all I can hope is that whilst we're having a bite to eat, the carp do too. Lovely.
Can't stop it. This feels quite big. This is a big fish, Carl. Jesus. Yes, it's my second big common from the res.
Well done, Alex. So
It's
worth it.
It's been a massive joint effort. Like when I haven't been able to come and bait up, Cole's been driving me here quite a lot. Come for loads of overnighters. Just put in as much time as we can, even if we have to get up at 3 in the morning to go to work in Essex the next day. We've still done it. And yeah, one of the best moments of my life.
What a carp, Alex. What a carp.
Yeah, let me just get this water on the fish. I wasn't expecting that. Let's get it back out. That was epic. Would it be too greedy to ask for more? I guess we'll find out in the next couple of weeks.
So eventually we felt like we'd sussed it again, catching most nights and finally getting amongst some of the better fish. By this stage we were practically living at the reservoir. After work we'd pop home for a quick shower and to eat dinner, but by dusk we had our rods out each night. Early mornings, late nights, long boat journeys and disrupted sleep were starting to get the better of us. We knew our season ticket was soon expiring, and due to moving house away from the area, this was to be our last couple of weeks on the reservoir.
You were always searching for something out there, out of reach, couldn't stop you, couldn't hold you back. You were so real, so real. When the words are like bullets and they break through your skin, and there's no way to get them all out. When it feels like rust seeping into your soul, stay gold, 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 stay gold, 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 stay gold, 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 under the bright skies. Under sunshine.
This fish is huge. Come on. It's the big scaly. Alex, it is scaly. It's scaly and it's big. Shall I net it? Yeah, I'm netting it. It's in. That is scaly and freaking massive.
Yes!
Bruv, put it there.
Yes,
We've got it.
We've got it, Alex.
We've got it. Reservoir Diaries.
Season 2.
It's happening.
Yes, buddy.
So here it is, the fish that we rejoined the reservoir to try and catch. We never thought we'd ever catch a target fish, not in 280 acres of water, but after wading through 70 odd small commons, so many nights, I'm eventually holding it. What is now known as the Big Scaly in Woora's Reservoir is in my hands. So this is the Big Scaly. This was Reservoir Diaries. Thank you so much for watching.
And I see this all again, from the start until the end. And I've waited for so long. And I see this all again, from the start until the end. I've waited for so long. And I see this all again, from the start until the end. And I've waited for so long.